You are an entrepreneur, a professional, a speaker, or a coach. And although you've come a long way, it's time for you to take it to the next level. We've got you. This is the Author to Authority podcast. We'll help you use authority and influencer marketing to build your business stronger and faster by publishing a book. You'll hear from guests that are thought leaders in sales, marketing, networking, communication, social media, promotion, and business leadership. Let's do it. This is the Author to Authority podcast. And now your host, the extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder.
Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And today's going to be a good conversation because I have a fellow publisher with me today, Aurora Winter. And we're going to be looking at books and thought leadership. So there is a definite connection between the two. So today's conversation is not one that you want to miss. Now, Aurora Winter is a successful entrepreneur. She's a best-selling author. She's a TV writer, producer, and the founder of Same Page Publishing. Using her expertise in film and neuroscience, she helps people tell memorable stories that build brands, books, and businesses. Experts turn their words into wealth. Winner of the Outstanding Nonfiction Book of the Year Award, Aurora's book, Turn Words into Wealth, Blueprint for Your Business, Brand, and Book, shares 7 ways to generate 7 figures, which we're going to talk about today. And Aurora will share how the right words can dramatically increase income, impact, and influence. Welcome to the show, Aurora.
It's great to be on the show with you, Kim. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to helping the listeners turn their words into wealth.
Awesome. So I guess probably one of the obvious questions is, can you use your thought leadership to make 7 figures? I mean, that would be my question. I'm like, okay, I'm a thought leader, but really 7 figures? So I was going to ask you the question.
Well, the answer is absolutely yes. The right words to the right people at the right time can transform your life and your business. And if you are positioned as the go-to expert, don't be surprised if you make 7 or even 8 figures. I have generated 7 figures from various different businesses, and I've helped thought leaders launch startups who had 0 capital raised when they started learning about how to create $1 million message. And then through working with me, they've raised a minimum of 7 figures and sometimes 8 figures.
There is power in words. And I liked what you said about, the right words to the right people.
Yes.
And I think that's something that is missing. And I don't know about you, but, when I meet with all my potential clients, there's usually a couple of different things that I hear. So I'm curious to see if you hear the same thing. So first of all, they think they're going to make money from selling their book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
true.
But secondly, and I think, more importantly, there's a perception out there, and I think it's being projected by many gurus who just want to sell, build your book in 7 days and publish it type thing, that, you're going to publish this book and all this business is going to fall into your lap. I mean, have you kind of gotten that impression as well?
Oh, we must be talking to the same people, Kim. Well, here's what my experience is. A book is a fantastic lead magnet. A book can change your brand value from being just another coach, author, speaker, entrepreneur, expert, dentist, lawyer, whatever you happen to be, to being the one that people want to work with. And that can totally up the caliber of clients that you attract. And therefore you can attract premium clients at premium prices. So that just changes the game. I want to say something about making money from your book. Let's get that out of the way right at the beginning. You can make money from your book. Yes. And Tim Ferriss, who famously wrote The 4-Hour Workweek, he's a New York Times bestselling author. He did not launch The 4-Hour Workweek thinking that the book itself would make money. He actually designed it to be a lead magnet as an affiliate link book. So it led people to see, the value of hiring a virtual assistant, perhaps in India. And then obviously the next question is, well, how do I hire a virtual assistant and where can I find them? And can you vet them for me? And so he had links to doing that. And I don't know exactly what percentage he made from sending people business, but that's how the book was designed. So how can you design whatever project you're working on to monetize in some way? If you don't have a business, you can perhaps have affiliate links to other people's businesses and generate business like Tim Ferriss does, and then, or did at the beginning. And then as your book then becomes in the black instead of in the red, you can afford to market it more. And who knows, maybe like Tim Ferriss, you'll launch a podcast, become a public speaker, and become, a sought after expert. So one of the things that was really heavy on my heart, and the reason why I wrote the book, Turn Words into Wealth, probably like you, Kim, I would see people struggling for 3 years to write the book, finally get it done, launch it without any marketing, without any promotion, without any thought about what do people want next. Even if your book does a great job at delivering the solution to the problem, people are going to want more. And I stumbled upon this first by happenstance. So it's not like I came down, I knew this message. No, I made lots of mistakes. And I like to help people avoid those mistakes and get better result more quickly.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think, there's so many ways that you can use your book to earn money. So you talked about affiliate marketing, which is a great way. One of the things is I'm writing book number 2. I wrote book number 1. It took me a long time because I was working on everybody else's book, and you've only got so much writing mojo. When you're writing everybody else's books, I don't write them anymore. I've got a whole team. But in the beginning, so it took me a while to write book 1, but by the time I kind of got it done and out there, I was like, I've grown, I've changed. Yeah. So I'm working on book 2. But one of the things we have planned for book 2 is that when I sell the book, it's going to lead to a masterclass.
Exactly.
And so I'm actually going to put it as part of a funnel.
Exactly.
So, there's lots of different ways that you can use the book. And audience, just so you know, at the time of watching this, which will be the beginning of June, I do actually have a masterclass coming up that's going to help you be able to write a book that converts readers into clients. So, the link will be in the show notes. You'll sign up on LinkedIn for it. So also like me on LinkedIn, because you get to watch these episodes live instead of waiting until they come out on the podcast app. So anyway, but there's lots of different things that you can do with the book. So I love the fact that you titled it 7 Ways to Make 7 Figures.
It's a snappy.
People kind of get stuck in a rut. They think there's only one way to use a book, and yet there's so many ways to use a book. And yes, if you're selling the book, you're going to make some money selling the book, but I'd rather, like you said at the beginning, get the book, which is the right one for the right person, get it into their hands, and then you see the magic happen.
Exactly. Well, talking about getting the right message to the right people at the right time, as you know, Kim, I have a background in film and television. Mm-hmm. And I was invited when I was just a rookie screenwriter who had no credits, didn't even have a published book at the time. I was invited to pitch the screenplay that I had just written at the Banff Media Festival in front of 600 movers and shakers in Hollywood and around the world, TV producers, broadcasters, and distributors. And I said yes, which is a key. Always say yes when you're invited to do something outside of your comfort zone. And then I panicked because they actually had a documentary film crew following me around. So, if I made any flubs, it was going to be immortalized. And so I'm like, why did I say yes to this? I could blow my reputation, such as it is, like a minuscule reputation at that time, in one fell swoop. And if people weren't in the audience live, they could watch it later on CBC television when it was broadcast. But I gave the right words at the right time to the right people. And that changed my life. That 20-minute pitch changed my life. It sparked a bidding war. My agent was fielding offers from Spelling Television. It indirectly led to being offered a 6-figure gig me being in the Cannes Film Festival and TV Festival and et cetera, and led to me actually a little bit later launching a film and television production company, raising $5 million to do that, making 8 films. So you never know, the right words at the right time to the right people can totally change your life. So that's something I really want people to think about, because often we agonize about the words, but we forget to think about the people we are giving the message to.
Yes.
So whenever somebody's thinking about writing a book or launching a new business, I invite them to ask the following question. And I got my MBA in 2015 in Italy, which was kind of fun. And then I asked myself these questions. So what am I really, really good at? What do I love to do? I had to add that question, because sometimes you're really good at something that you're just done with, you're bored of. You don't
for me, that's accounting. I am really good at it. I hate it. I
hear you on that. And then the third question is, who is that worth the most to? Who is that worth the most to is an important question. And many people forget to ask that question. That's the difference between a hobby and a business.
Yes.
So after I got my MBA, I moved to Silicon Valley and helped people pitch to raise capital for their businesses. And my success ratio is 100%. They all raised 7 figures or more, because I asked the question, who is it worth the most? So I invite you to consider that question. If you're writing a nonfiction book, you are solving some kind of problem. You don't have to withhold the answer. Do your best to give all the information that you can and solve that problem for that person. But a certain percentage of people will always want more. A certain percentage of people will want to come, to your mastermind, Kim. A certain percentage of people will want one-on-one VIP coaching. A certain percent of people will want done with you projects or done for you. Now I just have a few clients who are, at the top of their game, and they pay me VIP dollars, but they get VIP service, white glove service, and everybody wins. So think about, what is it for you? What brings you joy? You don't want to create a business that's a trap. But there are so many different kinds of businesses. And if you'd like to learn, 7 different ways to make 7 figures with your book, then I invite you to read the book, Turn Words into Wealth. And it's on Amazon and other places as well. There's a couple, don't probably have time to cover all 7 ways, but we could dive into the first 3. So Kim is a great resource. She's been talking to you about way number 1 to make 7 figures with the book. 7 figures with your book. Stumbling over my words there. So Kim's all about, how can you become an authority? And that's brilliant. So that is a great way to make 7 figures with your book. My first published book, From Heartbreak to Happiness, which is actually an intimate diary of healing after my husband died suddenly at the age of 33. So it was not designed as a lead magnet. I made all the mistakes. I help other people avoid them now. But it brought people to me who wanted help, who wanted coaching through their grief. And eventually, when 2 people asked me the same way, you've helped me more in that one session than my beloved therapist has helped me in months, would you teach me how to do that? So then later I launched the Grief Coach Academy, which is now being run by Audrey White, who's amazing. So through trial and error, I ended up generating 7 figures from a book that was not designed very well to do so, From Heartbreak to Happiness. But then I'm like, okay, lesson learned. All right. So the second way that I've been mentioning a little bit is, when you become an authority, do you have a business that's a high-tech business or a startup business? Do you need to raise venture capital? And so you don't even necessarily need to have a book to do so, but you need to be, a book is great, but you need to have the same expertise as an author. You need to be the author. You need to have the sound bites down. You need to really know the problem that you solve and why it's so compelling. You need to be able to be very fluid and on top of your game. So for example, Steve Jobs, when he was launching Apple products, he would spend 3 weeks practicing. Now, for a CEO of a huge company to spend 3 weeks practicing something tells you something about the value of the right words at the right time to the right people. And so he's a great example. And there's other examples in the books, Turn Words into Wealth, of how you can use the right words to either generate a frenzy of buying, as we saw with the Apple launches, or to attract capital for your business. And then
I'm going to stop you there for a second,
Sure,
Aurora.
sure. Absolutely, Kim.
One thing I found with working with my clients, and I'm sure that you have too, is, one of the things that we work through before we even start their book is I have what I call a thought leadership accelerator program. So in this program, it's the foundational piece that helps determine, target market, your audience of one, what is your thought leadership, the stories you tell, things like that. And just doing that process with my clients at the beginning, their businesses increased just because we worked on those foundational pieces before we even started the book. Now, have you found that as well? That, when you get clarity on these things, it comes out in what you speak, what you say, how you present yourself to your clients.
Absolutely, Kim. This is one of the big benefits of writing a book and getting really clear, especially leading somebody through the important questions. Like I had some dentists who, when they got really clear on their message and they understood that they were actually not the everyday dentist for every person, which is a very bad message, trying to solve everybody's problems all the time. That brings you the least income. But they decided that really what they wanted to help people with was people over 40 to have a beautiful smile. So I helped them create their book, Keys to a Healthy Smile After 40. And their business grew from $1.5 to $6.5 million. They become paid public speakers. They got on podcasts because they got articulate with their message. So even if you never publish your book, there's a value in clarifying your message. I call it your $1 million message. Should I explain one more way to make 7 figures with your business, or do you want to comment on that, Kim?
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more. That process is, well, let's put it this way. You talked about, that $1 million message, the right words to the right person at the right time. And, I think we could probably just do a whole episode on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we're going to cover some of the other ones, but I really want the audience to know just how important that is. That's the foundation. That's when you've got that nailed, your business has changed. Like back when I started ghostwriting in 2015, I was on a freelancing site. I just took whatever jobs I could get. I was making money for my son's wedding and we had to replace 2 cars.
Okay.
Wasn't planning on becoming a publisher. But by 2016, I started RTI Publishing. But again, I was just taking like any jobs I could get. 2017, I started to get a bit more strategic and, really think about who it was I wanted to work with, because I had worked with a lot of people I didn't want to ever work with again. When you're new to business, you do that. But, really in around 2017, 2018 was when I really defined who it was I wanted to work with, the problem I wanted to solve. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I realized that my heart was to work with other entrepreneurs. And once I did that, once I kind of really settled inside of me, who was the person that I was passionate about working with? Who was the person that I felt that, RTI Publishing could write and publish the best books for? And then once I did that, my business trajectory totally changed, and it allowed my business to grow faster than I thought it could, because now I knew who it was. And so when somebody else approached me, it was really easy. The answer is, you know what, I'm not that kind of publisher, but I've got this friend over here and they do that kind of book. And you give a referral, right? And
so you're just a walking proof how clarity makes such a difference. Like I've gotten clear that my focus with publishing is to create best-selling, award-winning books for people who are making a difference in the world. So unless people are aligned with creating a best-selling, award-winning book, and unless they're also aligned with making a difference in the world, then they're not my client. I could send them somewhere else. But let's look at one more way that people can make 7 figures with their business. You don't necessarily address all the time, which is, can your project be turned into a movie? So my background's in film and television. I had $1.5 million development budget when I was working in film and television, and then later went on to launch my own film and television production company with a partner. And we made 8 films and we raised $5 million. So I have a lot of expertise in film and television. So one of the books that you can see behind me, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, is I have a new fantasy trilogy So if you're writing fantasy, it's really not the best for, a coaching or consulting business, although you could help people write books or publish books perhaps, or encourage them around creativity. But can your book be made into a movie or a TV series? So I met with BBC, and they actually expressed interest in launching Magic Mystery and the Multiverse, which is a trilogy, as a 12-part TV series. So we'll see. I'm meeting with them again in a couple of weeks. But for those of you who like fantasy or would like to see some marketing unfold in real time, you can follow my Kickstarter for Magic Mystery and the Multiverse, which should be live by the time this is live. Just go to magicmysteryandthemultiverse.com, and it will redirect you to the Kickstarter page to make it easy for you to find. And that would be way number 4 to monetize your book, is can you do some interesting or different marketing, such as Kickstarter? So Kickstarter is a great platform for creators who have something new to offer. And unlike putting your book on Barnes & Noble or Amazon, etc., you can offer so many more value add things like bookmarks or special edition books, or you can offer, some authors offer, come to my house and have dinner with me, right? So you can offer all kinds of different things, inviting people to have a consulting call with me, or even to name a character if they really want to have a legacy project. And I had special artwork done of the characters and maps and things like that. And so with a Kickstarter, you can actually add more value to your readers. And the average transaction on Kickstarter, according to the research I have, is $42. So you'd be pretty hard pressed to sell a book for $42. So, but it's not Kickstarter or Amazon. It's Kickstarter and Amazon. You just want to think through doing the Kickstarter first. So that would be a bonus tip of another way to monetize your book.
Aurora,
yes.
When you were talking, and I realize obviously a fiction book is a lot easier to turn into a movie, but I was thinking back a few years ago, one of the people I kind of followed, I never actually read the book, but there was a book called The Secret, and they actually did make a movie from it. Yes. Now, it wasn't a traditional movie in that sense, but it was like this movie documentary. And it was, high-level interviews with some really incredible people. And you had to be the elite of the elite to be asked to be in this video. And so, that me thinking as you were talking that, that maybe there is some ways that you can, even turn a nonfiction book into a movie.
The Secret was a good example. I read the book and I watched the movie, and I met Rhonda Byrne, who was the producer and the force behind it, and met a number of the speakers. I actually attended a mastermind in Jack Canfield's home. So another example of a nonfiction book that actually turned into a TV series is Marie Kondo's The Joy of Tidying. That became a Netflix series, even though she doesn't speak English as a native language. It had to have a translator. And again, that example is in Turn Words into Wealth. So if you want to see some examples of turning nonfiction books into movies, or movies or TV series, that would be a good example. Marie Kondo is also an example of another way to monetize your book, which is that she's passionate about helping people tidy up. She has her unique little ways of folding things and organizing a house. And she created a training program for coaches to become certified, Marie Kondo approved, Joy of Tidying Up coaches, or whatever she precisely calls them. And so I believe, if memory serves me, that the coach training itself is maybe $2,000. And then there's a $500 annual fee to maintain your certification and, I don't know, be on her website or whatever. So that is a 7-figure business, even if she didn't get the Netflix special, right? So there are so many opportunities to add more value if you think it through. So there's more examples. Okay, one more example. The highest paid career is to be a public speaker. So speaking is an under-accessed venue for making money as an author. So Hillary Clinton makes $250,000 per talk. I hear rumors that Tony Robbins makes up to $1 million per talk. That's not bad per minute if it's only a 90-minute talk. So how can you take your book or your message and become a speaker and thought leader who's also paid to speak. Of course, there's two ways to get paid as a speaker. Well, more than two ways, but one way is to actually get cha-ching ching. Many of my clients make $35,000 a talk, and they're not household names like Tony Robbins. And the other way is to speak for free and then offer goods and services from the back of the room. And many of my friends make more than $35,000 speaking for free and then offering something of value. Usually it's $1,500 or more, although there are different price points that are offered at the back of the room. So think all these things through and create a good strategy is the invitation. Otherwise, you are not only leaving money on the table, potentially you're leaving behind 5, 6, 7, 8 figures, but also you're not being of service.
Yes.
Who are you to play small and not offer all of your brilliance to the world and to the people who want you and your solution? I really urge people to stop feeling shy about marketing, like, oh, but instead go like, I'm being of service. Like my goal with my clients is they all create a 10x return on their investment. So I'm not shy about saying, hey, if we're a fit, let's talk about it. My commitment is, my vision is, that you get a 10x return on your investment, and that together we create a best-selling, award-winning book that makes a difference and builds your business. And so once you get clear, perhaps with Kim's coaching, attending her mastermind, about who you are, who you serve, and how you're going to just rock their world and create value, then you don't need to hide your light or be shy about broadcasting what you're all about.
Love it. Well, Aurora, you are a publisher, but you have also authored books.
Yes.
So I think you're going to give me a unique perspective on this question, but I'm going to ask you the question that I ask every single author that has come on this show. And you can either pick your first book or one of your current books, whichever book you feel you enjoy answering this question to. So the question is this: what was the good, the bad, and the ugly about writing, editing, and publishing a book?
Well, I had so much fun writing this book, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. It's working now on book number 3 in the trilogy, which will come out later this year. And book 2 is coming out on Kickstarter. So the good was that, well, let me just back up a little bit and say, when I was 9 years old, my world was rocked by reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. And I actually remember reaching up to grasp the last book in that series, which was called The Last Battle. And as I touched the book, I felt both excitement, but also anticipatory grief, because it was the last book in this series. And in that moment, I realized that authors are a kind of wizards, that we can transport people to another place and time just with black dots of ink on a white page of paper. And in that moment, as a 9-year-old, I vowed to do whatever I could to become a great writer like C.S. Lewis. So fast forward 2020, COVID hit. I have a plethora of nonfiction books and some produced screenplays, but I have not written that fantasy book that I wanted to write since I was 9. So the good of it was I finally went, if not now, when? Who knows how long I have, right? COVID reminded us all that we don't have forever. And so I wrote the series, and it was a great joy. Okay, that was the good. And I did a lifelong dream. And that book, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, actually won the Reader's Choice Award, Best Book for Teens, 2023. It also won the American Fiction Award, Best Preteen Book. And 2024, it was a finalist in the UK Wishing Shelf Award, which is actually voted on by students. Like, they have 150 kids read the books. So it's done very well, and I'm excited to launch book 2 on Kickstarter in June. The ugly of it is I got used to writing nonfiction books. With a nonfiction book, you can add another story, you can add another statistic. The whole rest of the book doesn't have to change, right? But in fiction, if you change the character, it has to go all the way through the rest of the series. So I would have these brilliant ideas. I'd wake up in the morning at like 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh, so excited. What about this? What about that? I could change this. I could change that. And I would go into page 30. Change that. I'm like, oh, now I have to change everything after that. And
because
then,
your readers who absolutely love the book will analyze every single detail, and if you get it wrong, they'll let you know.
That's right. Well, in fact, book 2, I just sent to my editor, And she's like, but halfway through book 2, there's an ant. She's like, what? You didn't mention the ant. I killed off the ant. We don't have any ant. There's no ant. And it was just one word, you can easily miss little things like that. Even though I've read the book, like I must do 14 friggin' drafts. So the ugly is so many drafts. And what was the third part of the question? The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, bad, the ugly.
And then there was this precious moment. My sister-in-law is a teacher, and I spoke to her class and gave them advanced review copies of Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. And this girl wrote me on like lined paper in pencil with the little, the way that a 12-year-old writes, printed. And she wrote how much she loved the book, and that she especially loved the dog who talks, and that she can't wait for the next book. And that was like so precious. So it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. It helped one of my clients publish a legal thriller. We're actually working on 9 legal thrillers now. And of course, we've got the intention that they'll all be turned into movies. But his book had also won the American Fiction Award, but in his category, or it was finalist in the category of legal thrillers. And his book, he had no list. He's a full-time litigation attorney, so he's not focused on speaking. He's not doing any marketing. But I managed to promote the book, and it's had over 50,000 readers. Nice. So that was another high point, and that he loved the process so much that we are working on 9 more legal thrillers. That's another high point. Like, there's such joy in being a creator. So whether I'm being an entrepreneur and creatively solving problems, or whether I'm writing my own books or helping other people write their books, for me, there's such joy in being a creator.
I can't agree more. I love the creative process. Even though I'm a publisher and I spend a lot of time with words, I like to create other words. I'm musical. Mm-hmm. I'm also crafty. So, I knit, crochet, cross stitch. Haven't done that one in a long time. I've got a Cricut machine. I've got a knitting machine. The knitting machine, I'm actually designing patterns for the knitting machine. So I'm actually going to have a website to sell the patterns, a YouTube channel to show people how to make them, because I just love creating.
Nice. Well, you might have a little book.
Yeah, well, actually, I was thinking about that, like a how-to book. Yeah, I was thinking that too. But we are almost out of time, Aurora. So what I would love for you to do is just share one final thought with us. And if you have something that you'd like to give away or, direct people to, now's a good time to do that.
Oh, thank you, Kim. Well, the final thought that I'd love to share with everybody is that you matter. Your words matter. Your passion matters. And it is really worth your time to define and refine what you really stand for, what you really care about, so that you can broadcast that to the world. One study indicated that the value of adding a story to anything is potentially to 27x the revenue, but also 27x or more the impact that you have in your world. So I really urge you to own that and not to hide your light under a bushel. And I would love people, if you want to learn more about how to turn words into wealth, if you want those recipes for 7 different ways to make 7 figures with your book, then jump on over to Amazon, grab a copy of my book, Turn Words into Wealth, which won the Outstanding Nonfiction Book of the Year award in its category in publishing. And then if you want to watch some innovative marketing unfold in real time, I would love for you to jump on over to www.magicmysteryandthemultiverse.com. It will redirect you to the Kickstarter. When the Kickstarter is live, it'll have other bonuses for you when the Kickstarter is not live. And then you can see a Kickstarter unfold in real time. And if you'd like to grab the copy of the brand new book in the Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse series, you can also do that just at magicmysteryandthemultiverse.com. Thank you so much for your time, Kim. It was really fun being interviewed.
I really enjoyed it, Aurora. Audience, you know what time it is. I'm going to direct it to the next video or the next episode to watch. So I'd love to share with you episode 504. So just 7 episodes back as opposed to my usual 20 or 30. TED-style practices for authors. If you didn't get a chance to hear that recently, Devin did a great job of taking what we talked about today, especially, the right words at the right time. And he gives an amazing framework to help you create your own TED style talk that you can use to promote your business. If you're watching it on YouTube, you know the routine. My daughter has the thumbnail here on the screen. If you're on your podcast app, today's easy. Just probably one swipe back, about 7 episodes. Thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye now.
You've been listening to the Author to Authority podcast. The extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson Pinder, has helped over 200 entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches write and publish their books that have become incredible marketing tools for their business. And many of those have gone on to become Amazon best-selling authors and have used their books to land high-level clients and get on big stages. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.authortoauthoritypodcast.com. See you next time.